Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I am MartrysDrake, and we're doing things a little differently today. So I'm going to start off by teaching you some of the board games that I've been playing lately, or some of the games that I will probably be playing soon, depending on how many we get through. Yeah, just because I thoroughly enjoy board games. I know that not everybody has the courage to ask the question of how do you play. So we're just gonna go right on in and and hopefully we'll get rid of some of that, and that way you guys can know how to play. If you have questions while I'm explaining, feel free. Otherwise, feel free to put them in the comments below when this is on YouTube. Let's go in. So the first one that I'm going to do is Spacebase. Spacebase is a 2-7 player game. Just gonna do we're gonna keep all the expansion stuff off, and we're just gonna explain how to play. True, for the purposes of the online setup, it's 2-7, but she is correct. When you're playing this, if you are playing this in person, since I do like to do that, the base game is just to 5. There's an expansion. This box right here adds the last 2 players. So I'm going to pick a color, because if I don't, it won't actually do it. Let me hit start game. So, this is a victory point game. So you are trying to be most victory points at the end of the game. End game is triggered when somebody hits 40. I'll explain how you get points in a minute. What's going to happen is, first things first, on any individual person's turn, the first thing that you do is you roll dice. So this Edivore put this lovely script in where this thing just will automatically roll dice for you. So we're just gonna click that. Cool. So I have a 4 and a 1 or 5. So on your turn, you have the choice to either take that as a 5, which in this case would get me, if it's your turn, you're looking at the blue side here. So 5 would get me 1 money. But you instead have a choice where you can take them separately. So I can take a 4 and a 1. So 4 and 1 would actually be 2 money, which is obviously better for your turn. So I would take the 2 money, I would go up 2. Okay? After you have done that, and you've chosen whatever you're going to do, you then can choose to buy cards. This yellow number is how much they cost. This gray number is where they will go. So if you look at the board, each player has a board that looks remarkably similar. Just sometimes the colors on the ships will be different. Yep, see. But as far as what they do, it's only... I will get there. But they all have specific spaces. So obviously on 2d6s, with the fact that you can split them apart, you can get any numbers 1 through 12. So there is 1 card for each of those spots. So when you buy a card, so right now, for example, I have 7 money. So I can buy any card that is 7 or less here, and then it will go to a specific spot. So we're going to take this one. So this will go to the 2, because that's what this number is. So when you buy a new card, the old card goes up here. This matters. I'll explain why in a moment. But then the new card goes and replaces it, and so now on any future turns when I roll a 2, or if I roll a 4 with 2 2s, for example, this is what I would get instead of the first card. Now, why does it matter that these things are up here? Again, I'm going to give me just a moment and I'll explain that. In this case, I used all 7, right? However, what if I chose to buy this card instead? It's victory points, so, sure, maybe I want that one. So everything else works exactly the same. That would deploy, this would go into that spot, now I get victory points on a future turn. However, remember I had 7 money, this one only costs 2. That's not what happens. I don't just move the money 2. You only get 1 buy each turn, but if you choose to buy something, you still go all the way back down to whatever this is, and I'll explain this in a minute. So, choose to buy this, the rest of the other 5 money go away. Now, if you choose not to buy anything, so I'm going to put this back. I really like this card. I'm going to hope that it's there on a later turn. I'm at 7 money. I'm going to hold off. If I don't spend any money, this does not move down. It is not you have to use it that turn. It is just if you choose to use any of it, you use all of it. But now I did say you go down to whatever this is. This is your income. At the start of the game, you can only get it on 9 through 12, maybe. But you can only get it on 9 through 12. If you roll those numbers and you choose to take these as your reward, then your income moves up. What that does is when you spend your money, so again, I'm going to spend the 2 to get this one. Instead of going all the way down to 0, I'm going to go down to 1. I'm still using all of the money that I have, but I'm not going as far, and therefore, on other people's turns when I get money, I'll be a little bit higher up, and therefore I can maybe afford some of the more expensive cards later. Right? But how do you earn stuff on other people's turns? It's a fairly good question. I'm going to take this one that I had used originally. So, I bought this card. Now, you see this red above my board? On other people's turns, if they roll a 2, I would now get 1 money. And if I'm playing with 7 people and everybody's rolling a 2, at least one of them, I can end up with quite a bit of money. Because again, the red is every person's turn. So I'm at the blue spot, so blue, done. So it's purple's turn, purple rolls. See, there's a 2 already. So now, again, this is for purple's roll, but for blue, they now have the choice between same thing. They can either take the 6, or they can break it apart and get the 2 and the 4. Well, this board doesn't have a 6, doesn't have a 4, but it does have a 2. So it'll still be better for me to take the 2 and the 4, because that still gets me 1, whereas taking the 6 gets you nada. And then purple obviously would still do whatever purple wants to do. That being said, the game starts off, everybody does have a card, so that way you at least have something to be able to tell, or to be able to get money when it's not your turn at the start of the game. But unless you get a card with this little ship symbol on it, you don't start off with any way of getting victory points unless you buy those cards. Like I said, game ends. First person to hit 40 or more points triggers last turns. This is a game of equal turns. So whoever started off, so blue, whoever started off gets this token, and then if blue was the first person to hit 40, everybody else that's playing would still get another turn. But say, say if blue was first person and teal is the one to hit 40 first, game is over. Because everybody's had the same number of turns. But that is not necessarily the person who wins, because again, it is most points at the end of the game. So blue triggers final turn, but purple's able to get a boatload of points and get ahead and stay ahead throughout everybody else's turns. Purple wins. The only other thing, as far as getting points quickly, whereas all of these you don't get anything unless you roll them later. These cards, we call them, you know, end game cards for the most part. These cards give you points immediately upon buying them, which is why they're more expensive. However, they also do something else. So I'm gonna deploy this because, you know, hey, I bought that one earlier, but now I buy this card. So I deploy that one, and then this one goes here. I can't get this 4 points again when I roll a 2. This is now done. 2s on my turn no longer give me anything, so I hope that I have other things. If I'm rolling snake eyes, I'm taking the 2 1s. If I'm rolling 2 2s, I'm taking the 4, because 2 doesn't get me anything anymore. It still gets you everything on other people's turns, but it's dead to you on your turn. Which is why, again, you tend not to do this until towards the end of the game. Because you do it too early and you cut a number off. That could hurt. But it can be nice to move things up here. Now, that being said, you can see I have a second card up here now. If somebody else rolls a 2 after the turn that I would do this, so these cards are both up here. Purple rolled a 2 after this, you get both effects. So blue would get 3 money on everybody else's turns when they rolled 2s. And that's the basics of Spacebase. Any questions, or if somebody watching, if I've left anything out? Maybe. We'll see if we can talk people into playing later. But in the meantime, I'm going to move into teaching something else. So let me go ahead and put a quick pause in here. Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And like I said, if you have any questions, put a question down below, and I will be more than happy to get back to you and answer. But in the meantime, bye.